Governor Jim Folsom of Alabama's Christmas Day speech. I am happy to have this opportunity to talk to the people of Alabama on Christmas Day. This is the greatest day, the most revered day of our entire calendar. It is the birthday of Christ, who was the greatest humanitarian the world has ever known. This is a day to talk about loving our neighbors, lending help to the less fortunate, and bringing joy to others by good work. We set aside Thanksgiving Day to honor the Almighty's bountifulness to us. We celebrate the 4th of July, which marks the freedom of our country. But on Christmas Day, we pay tribute for the freedom of our souls. It is great to live in America, with all of its plenty and bounty, yet it behooves us not to forget that we are the most blessed people on earth, and to remember that with that greatness goes a like share or responsibility. The world looks to America today for leadership, for physical relief, for spiritual uplifting. These things we must provide if we are to retain our position of greatness. Because, like the foolish and the wise virgins, those who have and use not, from them their possessions shall be taken away. They will wither away because they are not used. This nation has prospered in many and magnificent ways, and it has done so under the freedom of a democratic government, a government in which the people retain their final source of power through the exercise of the ballot. The very foundation of democracy itself rests upon Christianity, upon the principles set forth by Christ himself. And I believe that it is no mere speculation to say that, without a government which guaranteed the freedom of religious worship, this nation would never have become the great America which it is today. So often in our democracy, we have failed to make the most of the very weapons itself, that is, providing a human, decent way of life for all our people. Under the extensive freedom of a democratic country, there emerges a pattern of life which creates economic barriers among the people. And as a democracy grows in years and expansiveness, there comes about a controlling minority group. That group controls because through advantages and opportunities it obtains great portions of wealth. Wealth means power, and power influence. And so often that influence becomes an evil thing, in that it is used for a few and not for the good of all. For that reason that we must have laws to establish control over power and authority, control over forces which are based on self-gain and exploitation. And it is necessary that we have laws to establish a measure of assistance and help for those who are not able to grub out a meager, respectable living. So we founded in this country great and far-reaching welfare programs. These programs were not created, nor are they operated as a great leveler, but rather as an obligation of a democracy to its people, in order that the unfortunate may feast on more than crumbs and clothe themselves with more than rags. What has gone before us in the way of welfare work exemplifies rich rewards of human endeavor. But we are actually just becoming of age, just beginning to scratch the surface in fulfilling the needs which are so widespread. So long as we have a person hungry, ill-clothed, or without medical aid, we can take no pride in what has been done. It is good at Christmas for us to turn our thoughts to the neglected, because Christmas is a time to think of others and not of ourselves. It's a time for us to ask questions of our inner self. It is indeed a proud thing to know that the people of this state are concerned enough about these questions to devote a giant hospital building program, which will extend into every county in Alabama. This program is one of the greatest things that have ever happened in Alabama, and its effect will be such as to make for a far healthier and happier people. Our Negroes, who constitute 35% of our population in Alabama, are they getting 35% of their fair share of living? Are they getting adequate medical care to rid them of hookworms, rickets, and social diseases? Are they provided with sufficient professional training, which will produce their own doctors, professors, lawyers, clergymen, scientists, men and women who can pave the way for better health, greater earning powers, and a higher standard of living for all of their people? Are the Negroes being given their share of democracy, same opportunity of having a voice in the government under which they live? As long as the Negroes are held down by deprivation and lack of opportunity, the other poor people will be held down alongside them. There are others, too, who share in our thoughts of the neglected, wounded veterans, the blind, shut-ins, crippled, and on and on. The job for us here in Alabama is a positive one. It is a time for us to adopt a positive attitude toward our fellow man. Let's start talking fellowship and brotherly love and doing unto others. And let's do more than talk about it. Let's start living it. In the past few years, there has been too much negative living, too much stirring up of old hatreds and prejudice and false alarms. And the best way in the world to break this down is to lend our ears to the teachings of Christianity and the ways of democracy. We must all constantly strive to put our democracy to fuller service for our people, in order that all may be more richly rewarded with the fullness of the earth. Certainly that is keeping with the spirit of Christ, who said, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." I hope the time will soon come when nations are brought together by the spirit of Christmas in much the same manner in which families join in the reunion during the Holy Week. People feel better when they gather together for the sake of love and fellowship. Their hearts are cleansed and kindled by the warm fire of eternal goodness. Nothing but good comes out of the people at Christmas time, and that is how it should be at all times. The great carpenter of Bethlehem showed us the way more than 2,000 years ago, and yet we have learned so little from his teachings. Before lasting peace will ever prevail in this world, nations have got to respect the laws of human decency which Christ preached in his teachings. Nations have got to become his families. They've got to gather around the cross of Christianity if good is ever to triumph over evil. And before nations can do that, the leaders of nations must be fired with the challenge to see that equal justice, equal opportunity, and equal freedom become a reality for every man, woman, and child. I believe that the people of all nations, the people of Alabama, the people of China, Africa, Russia, and tiny Luxembourg, I believe that all of them want to see lasting peace and goodness on this earth. And it is that great desire in the hearts of the people that gives me hope for a brighter future, a world without constant warfare, suffering, and distress. I believe that such a goal is within our grasp. It can become a force real and wonderful for all people. We will set our hearts and our minds to that end. It has been a humble privilege for me to talk with you today. I appreciate the opportunity from the bottom of my heart. And now, this is your governor, wishing for each and every one of you a goodly share of Christmas spirit, a table filled with the fruits of the earth, and a heart filled with love, the little babe of Bethlehem.